girl, I was writing Ellen every time, like, yo, do you see this? She's doing this. And you were taking care of your mom at the time. Like, so much went into that. And, I want to, I first want to give my condolences to you again. I was there with you, sister. And I stand with you in anything that comes your way,
She used to come. So I used to have to bring her to system rehearsals.
I know. Oh my gosh. And
Yeah,
she be
we had
right there.
meetings at the house because I couldn't leave. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember when you shut it down and was like, yo, this is more serious, but even though you shut that down, you still went hard with Emcee's Give Back. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that means to you. What is Emcee's Give Back, and what does that really mean to you?
Growing up in a household, we wasn't rich. But I've noticed that people in my family have always had that spirit of giving and always giving what they had. I remember my grandmother, people would stop us down the street, walking down the street. I remember one specific time, somebody had pulled over and was like, who is this? My grandmother getting out the car. We didn't know who this lady was she was in the car with. And so the lady get out of the car and she tells her name. She's like, you remember me? I stayed on 57th Street and this, and I stayed down the street from you guys, and Miss Jackson was a lifesaver. And so when the lady pulled over, my mom said, I remember that lady. Her husband used to beat her, and he was an alcoholic. And he would take all the money and blow it on alcohol. And my grandmother would go to the corner store and get credit to get staples, as they call, bread, rice, cereal, milk, and give it to her so her kids can eat. My grandmother had 11 kids.
Damn.
She wasn't rich. She was doing day work. But she did that for her. And that lady, 20, 30 years later, seen my grandmother one day, picked her up and dropped her off at home, and she remembered that. Those are the type of things that I grew up remembering and seeing. When my mom's lost her job and my auntie would slide my mom's money, or my grandmother would give my mom's food because my mom's lost her job and we didn't know where we had a house, but we didn't know what we was gonna eat. And I remember those times when my mom's lost her job when I was in a high school senior. And we didn't know what we were going to do. So seeing those things and seeing the way my mom struggled, seeing the way my family struggled, but they were always in the midst to help other people, it was just always in my heart to do. I listened to different organizations do certain things, and I just called my homegirl Lisa. I was like, Lisa, I want to do a toy drive. Can I do it? She's like, sure you can. And I just did it. And before that, right before that, it was for your friend. I did that for Thanksgiving. And then I just thought about the toy drive. And from the toy drive, I said, what can I do? And because I opened my heart in the vessel, I opened my heart as the vessel. And I oftentimes tell myself when I allow God to use me, it usually happens. And I just open up my mind and I just say, hey, I want to do this. What should I do? And when I listen, when I go against the grain, it don't work. But when I listen, even when my people around me think I'm crazy, I give you a certain scenario. It was probably the second year I had did it on my own, because the first year I was helping another organization. So the first year I did it on my own, I was walking and I heard 25 families. And I said, I don't know about I just don't know. It was the second year. I said, I only did 7 people. I can't do no 25 families. What is this? I kept hearing the word 25. So I finally said, okay, God, I don't know where this is coming from, but if I'm helping 25 families, you got to help me out. And when I said that, I was getting donations and help from all sources of people and people I wouldn't even imagine. The people that were helping me at the time was on my head. Miaisha, we can't do this. Where this money coming from? My bank account,
telling everybody they're going to get it. It's going to come.
My bank account was never empty. The donations never stopped coming in.
Yeah,
and it sounds crazy and people might say, oh, no, I'm serious. It was times where where your bank account should be. And it's like, okay, I know it's this time of the month and it should be, and it was never there.
Yeah.
And it never, and people were coming from all ranges and areas and just to help. And it was just amazing. And so once that happened, it just made me want to do it more and more and help more and more people and do more and more things.
I remember the year you gave me a Christmas tree. I was down on my luck. I had just lost my job. I had the kids and Christmas came and I didn't have any money to buy them anything. And you came and brought me a Christmas tree. You gave me I think I got a gift card and some toys. And then they woke up in the morning. It was like, for real, like they thought it was Santa Claus. I was like, oh, hell no. Mommy Claus and Miaisha and them. DVS
I was working with an organization at that time called Omicron. And that's when
I
I was
remember
trying to get my feet wet and trying to figure out. So my thing was I just collected the toys and I gave the toys to them, and that organization was able to do that. But after that year, I did it on my own, and I did 7 families on my own that following year. But the idea of helping people around, and the one thing about Emcee's Give Back that I try to do, and it's not to discredit or take anything away from people that go downtown, but what I try to tell people every day is the everyday people that we live among that are struggling. There are people that's working part-time jobs that's trying to sustain. I knew how it was with my moms. We had a home, but people didn't understand that sometimes we didn't have a telephone, or sometimes we didn't have meat. We had meals, but we didn't have meats. Okay. And so it's the people that stay
you
right
had that
next
rice
door to
meal. I know what you
that
mean.
rice, that corn, you know. But the thing about it is that I wanted to make sure that we help people within the community. Sometimes people are a little shy and a little, you know, they don't want to say what their hardships are, what's going on in their life. And that's why Emcee's Give Back. We go straight into the community where the everyday average people are, and to help them and let them know sometimes people just need a little extra step for the day. You know, if you can help me out this year, then me and my family will be all right.
And what are some of the other programs? Because I know you do children, you do food, of course, we know that. And you do a few different things. So didn't you do some children for high school too? You gave out scholarships as well,
we
right?
gave out scholarships. So far we've given out, don't quote me on this, my numbers, but we gave over 20 scholarships, $2,500 scholarships.
That's awesome.
Right.
That is so awesome.
Right.
Are you a 501(c)(3) yet?
Not yet, but
you working on it?
We're working
on it. I'm so happy for you because you deserve that. You really have a program that should go really, really far. And, you know, I laugh because we always think that we gonna be a rapper, huh?
It's so funny because I heard somebody, Charlamagne the God. Charlamagne said that he thought he was a rapper. And somebody he met told him, like, man, that rap stuff ain't for you. It's you good at radio. And I remember doing Emcee's Give Back in the beginning of doing it. And the joy that I felt giving was like the joy I felt from rapping on stage.
Yeah.
It was that same joy. And when I started really doing it, my sister, she used to do fundraising and she used to do grant writing. And she was like, I spent all this time doing that and I never thought this would be something that you do. And I said, me either. That wasn't what I thought, but sometimes we get in one direction and it leads us to something else.
It chose you.
Right, it chose me.
It chose
I chose rap, but something else chose me.
But that's the thing. Like most of the time, I think I'll start thinking, I really want to do some real research on this, but like, you know, people that are athletes, people that rap, they usually have, athletes and musicians have multiple talents, you know what I mean? And usually it's like syncopated stuff. Like I know as I used to play basketball. Did you play basketball?
No.
Did you play any sports?
No, just a huge fan.
Huge fan. Okay. But I'm saying, like, as far as when you have a talent, like as far as music, there's always something else below that. Like everybody is so multi-talented. And I remember being like, you know, how I'm always like, well, I do this and I do that. I do that. And it'd be like, girl, focus on one thing. And now everybody's like, oh yeah, I do this, I do that. And it's like the thing to do. I remember people telling me to slow it down. Find one thing that you can focus on. And I just knew it was going to be rap. I just knew I was going to be famous from rap. And I'm not.
I didn't think, you know what's so funny about rap with me is that I always thought that rap would be a bridge for me to be a business person.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I always thought that I would be the one to open up the door for so many more.
And you are.
Like I wanted to be, because I always tell this statistic and I hope that it changes, but the last big female hip hop artist out of the West Coast, and I know people gonna start mentioning names, but the last biggest mainstream artist out of the West Coast was probably Doggy's Angels.
What?
Think about it. On the charts, now Kamaya is doing her thing now, and I give her that. But worldwide mainstream.
But she's not from LA. She's from
right, but
the
I
Bay,
said from
right?
the West, yeah, West Coast.
West Coast,
Like,
West Coast.
yeah, like think of somebody else other than Kamaya, after Kamaya, who had mainstream success like Cardi
Though,
B,
right?
rap.
Rap.
Like Cardi B, like Remy Ma, like Foxy Brown, like Little Kim, like mainstream.
Well, I mean, we got Smooth, but Smooth, her career wasn't as big as theirs, but she still knows with the greats.
Right, but like I'm saying, so that goes back to our 90s. But remember, who's the last big female artist that we had come out of the West Coast on a nationwide platform? Like the last. And the last that I can think of on a nationwide platform because of Snoop Dogg was probably Doggy's Angels.
And that opportunity really didn't even get to unfold properly the way it
could have.
Yeah,
so now you have Kamaya. Shout out to Kamaya because she's doing her thing in the Bay. But that's what I'm saying. And so when I say that, of course, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to mention the legends, the Medusas, the Miss Toys,
but they did not get commercial success.
All of them because they set the brickwork for me, right? And people like us. But I'm saying on a mainstream level, the West Coast female rapper really haven't had a main stage like Rage, Yo-Yo, Doggy's Angels, 5-footers at one time. It's been a long road.
Yeah,
and so when I started Female Perspective, I wanted to see more people that looked like me and that was dope. And so my thing with hip hop always been was I want to make some classic music, but I also want to open up the door for some dope female rappers to come through that we can, sit on the stage and we can set the stage for, and people be like, oh, okay, they dope too, because just like Snoop Dogg with Long Beach, once you get one or two, it opens up the doors.
It does.
And they start looking. And we got some dope rappers out here. We got some dope female artists out here that's really doing it. I mean, if I start naming, people gonna get mad, so I ain't gonna start naming nobody. But we got some up and coming artists that I check out and I see what they doing, and they dope. You know what I'm saying? One girl I'm seeing right now is Ash Bash, the rapper. I see her doing her thing. So it's a lot of dope female rappers out here. But like I said, I just thought my transition was gonna be executive, and I was gonna open the door, be working at Capitol Records.
But that ain't over. That ain't over because this business is completely upside down now, sis. And I truly understand, like, I'm still here. I'm still, like, I've taken another route and you've taken another route, but we're still here. And I feel like that yearn, that burn that we have, that ain't gonna go away. You got too much in you to not give it to somebody else and pass those keys along. And it just might not be right now. But it's going to come. That opportunity is going to come because I really, really understand LA a lot more now. And I noticed that, like, if you want to be successful in LA, you got to leave LA. You can't be here because if you do, you're going to be along with this. It's a group of people and you know the group. It's a group that just, they famous amongst that group. That's just famous amongst LA. We all know each other. We all go to the same clubs, look at the same, everybody's just, hey, the VA show, that show, it's the same circle. But if you really want to extend your roots to another situation, you're gonna have to leave LA. You can't be comfortable with the fame here, which is crazy because people come here to get famous, but we gotta go to get it.
Yeah,
I believe that.
I think what happens with LA is that LA natives are used to LA, right? So other people come here and the opportunities that we have in LA is so normal for us to go to the grocery store and see Raphael Sadiq. It's so normal for us to go somewhere and see DJ Quick, right? So we take those things for granted. I can record in the same studio with, fill in the blank. Right. And so those opportunities, we look at them like, oh, man, they doing the same thing I'm doing. But for somebody that lives in another city, another town, and they don't have those opportunities, or they may not see people that frequent, they're going to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, they do.
And